weapons, at least how we imagine it to be. Cybersecurity expert, former CIA analyst, and founder of the firm Secure Anchor Consulting, Eric Cole, up late with me on the Final Five. Look, Eric, we've been talking about Iran for so long in the context of nuclear weapons, worried about what sort of response that they may have in that realm. You're a cybersecurity expert. You say that they may skip the weapons and go right for the computers.
Absolutely, because if you look at it from a military perspective, Iran is relatively small compared to the United States. So if they tried a physical military strike, that would probably not succeed. However, Iran is one of the top 3 countries when it comes to cyber warfare, and unfortunately the United States is quite vulnerable.
How does Iran get that sort of might? If you know, again, we don't imagine them on the same plane as countries like China and Russia. How did they get so powerful in that regard?
These smaller countries like Iran and North Korea, they know they have sanctions about building weapons of mass destruction, and they're limited on their capabilities. So for the last 5 to 6 years, they have been hiring some of the best people, some of the best scientists, and they have been building out some pretty impressive cyber weapons.
Have we been taking that threat seriously as a country?
Unfortunately, no, because we always look at China, Russia, and Iran's been very quiet but very deliberate in how they launch and build their cyber attacks. Just 5 years ago, they launched a massive attack against Saudi Arabia.
And when you look at the precautions, where this comes, where our response to an attack would come, would that come from a local level? Would that come from a national level? How do you go about reacting to the threat and sort of mitigating any negative impact?
It has to come from multiple levels. I know many of the large agencies in our country are on high alert. Many of the smaller municipalities are also watching and monitoring the power grids. But what we don't realize is it could also target us as individuals, where if they targeted 1 million individuals' bank accounts, that could be devastating. So we need to be on alert if we get unusual emails, unusual alerts, and change those passwords on all key accounts.
And that's what amazes me about all of this, because again, when I picture cyber attack, I think of them going for the jugular. I think of the North Korea hack of Sony a couple of years ago. I don't imagine them going to me or anybody else out there. But so it really is starting at a very low level, but it could have a major impact if enough people fall prey.
Absolutely. I mean, banks, critical infrastructure, financial institutions are vulnerable, but that takes a long time to target and break in. But most individuals do not have good cybersecurity, so breaking into 2, 3, 4 million individuals' accounts is unfortunately not that hard.
You know, we just had so much talk about 20 years ago when we hit Y2K, and there was just such a focus on getting our computer systems in line to correctly display the year. So much has happened in 20 years. So many companies have embarked on these huge endeavors to beef up their cybersecurity. But really, from your estimation, are we equipped in any way, shape, or form if something like this were to happen? If Iran said, you know what, we're not going to worry about the weapons, we're going to go right for system infrastructure?
Unfortunately, no. There's been multiple reports showing that our critical infrastructure, hospitals, or e-voting systems are vulnerable. But unfortunately, most people, when they think of cybersecurity, they don't think they're going to be a target, and they don't put in the proper measures to protect and secure their infrastructure. So unfortunately, as a country, we are quite vulnerable.
Eric Cole, cybersecurity expert, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll have you back after this.